Sorry, I knocked my mic off. Is it on? Yeah. All right. So today we're having a conversation about something that's crackling. Are we good? The ultimate Sunday. What we're talking about today is the importance of speaking up, the importance of, telling your story, the importance of letting out of you whatever has been going on that you've done this to, you've pushed it down, you've suppressed it so that you cannot feel the pain of it. And we all do that. And when we do that, we actually create in our bodies a blockage. And that blockage can turn into all kinds of things. For me, it was, bad hips, bad back. When you're doing this stuff and you're not paying attention, when you're not conscious of what you're thinking, what you're saying, what you're doing, what happens is you're blocking what's going on inside of you, that divine call that's saying, hey, step up, step out, be who you are, be great, be big, be beautiful. Allow yourself to see yourself in a brand new way so that you have the courage, the strength, the passion, the purpose to actually stand up and stand out. No more hiding from our past. And we all have one, don't we? I mean, I've been married 5 times. That's a past. That's the past, all right. Makes you wonder what I was thinking. Well, I got to take this earring off because it's blocking my microphone, so that doesn't work. So what we want to do is make sure that everything we're doing is in alignment with our universal calling. So each one of us is created unique and special. Oh, there we go. I finally have it right. No earrings. That's a memo for next week. We have been created perfect, whole, and complete. Our essence has never been harmed, never been touched. Nothing's ever happened to it. The challenge that we have living in this realm is being human. That's the difficult part. We are spiritual beings and we're having a human experience. And that human experience sometimes is a pain in the neck. Agree? Anybody agree with that? Sometimes the human experience is so hard to manage. And it feels so real, doesn't it? It's like, this is what's real. If I can touch it, if I can see it, if I can feel it, that's the real stuff. That God stuff, that spirit stuff, that universe stuff, well, that's not real because I can't see it, touch it, or feel it. Can I see gravity? No, but I know it works. And how do I know it works? I haven't flown off the planet yet. So that sort of makes sense, right? So we're working through this idea of having the ultimate experience of freedom, of joy, of love, of laughter. And we can't have any of that if we are suppressing that unique, remarkable nature that each one of us is. So the job for us is to sit down and go, so who am I anyway? What is it that I do? What is it I love? What makes me smile easily? Where do I feel most comfortable? Where am I most relaxed? Where do I feel at peace? And we start to work through that energy going, what's going on inside of me? And we start to listen. We listen to that essence. And remember, you see, we're created in the image and of the likeness of God, spirit, universe, whatever you want to call it, whim, whatever name you want to use. I mean, it's God stuff, right? And so when we live, move, and have our being in it, what that suggests is we have all those qualities. If God is being Barbara Jean, then why am I not powerful, creative, right? Why wouldn't I express those qualities, the natural essence of who I am? Easy, because I want to hide that. I don't necessarily want somebody to see everything under the carpet, right? We want to, sweep a little bit underneath there so nobody notices it. But the truth is, when we do that, we create things in our lives. So we create cancer in our body, or bad hips, or we create relationships that are a real mess that we just can't work things out. We find ways of creating disruption in our life because it's familiar. If we've been raised with a lot of chaos, like I was, you sort of look for it. It's like the law of attraction, right? The law of attraction is I'm going to bring to me who I am. Not what I want, not what I desire, not what I'm thinking about. I'm going to bring to me what I am at my essence. So if I believe that I'm bad and wrong and terrible and awful and unlovable, you want to know the partners I'm going to choose are going to match that energy. They'll match that energy. And very quickly, there will be a challenge and, later a divorce, if we're smart enough to actually get out. But the journey that we're on is one that is unique to each person. And when we open our mind and heart to that, when we allow ourselves to live in that energy of, I am created perfect, whole, and complete. I might have to just ditch this mic and get something else because this is annoying. So, what are we doing day by day, moment by moment? What are we doing? What are the stories that we're telling ourselves inside our own head? When we're waiting and somebody's late, what is the story that we're telling? That story that we're telling is what we believe about ourselves. And that story is going to bring into our lives everything that we think we are. So when I was younger, I thought that I was unlovable. I thought that I was a little bit homely. I thought I was not as good as anybody else. And so I would always measure myself by someone else, right? I look at Terry and go, oh, look how pretty she is. And, oh, and she's slimmer than me. That's great. That makes her better, right? These are the stories that we're running in our head. And if we want liberation, we need to clear that junk out. Excuse me, let me rephrase that. Clear that shit out, because that's what it is, right? And when we clear it out, then what happens is we end up having this incredible growth of something beautiful. It's like in your garden, if you're planting roses, you're going to put a little manure around it to give it some good food. So when we clear that shit out, we end up with a little bit of liberty, a little bit of liberation, a little bit of freedom, because now we're not carrying that baggage. And I remember a minister in Edmonton once said, it's like carrying a sack of dead dogs around for years. Like it's going to smell really bad. So what are we doing and how are we doing it and how can we do it different? So the first thing we want to do is pay attention to our self-talk. What am I saying? When I look in the mirror, what's the story I'm telling myself? When I walk into a crowded room that I don't know anybody, how do I feel when I walk into that room? Do I feel confident and positive, or do I feel like I should hang on the wall and just back away and hopefully nobody will see me or judge me? Anybody here ever worry about being judged? No. A few no's, a few, smiles. All right. So what happens is we start thinking, well, what's that person going to think of me? What will my parents think if I decide not to go to university? What will my boss say if I phone in sick tomorrow? What's going to happen to me if I leave my marriage, or what's going to happen to me if I get married? What's going to happen to me if I have children or I decide not to have children? Because as a woman, if you decide not to have children, people are wondering what's wrong with you. Because you're supposed to just want to do that. Why? Or they think you couldn't. Not that you made a choice, but that you couldn't have them. Well, there are people who make that choice. I like my life. I like what I'm doing, and I don't need to have children to fulfill that. So the journey that we're all on is a journey of waking up, not to what's going on in the world around us, not to the local news, none of that. It's about waking up to that divinity within. That's our liberation. That's our liberation. And the way we get there through meditation, through spiritual mind treatment, we start doing these things so we can clear the shit out and get to a place of joy. We can't be truly joyful. We can fake it, right? You know those days when you feel really terrible, but you come in here and go, oh, this is a positive place. Let me smile. Or we don't come here because, well, I'm not in a very good mood today, or I'm not feeling very well today, so I'm not going to go there because, I might be a bad influence on everybody else. No. If you're having a bad day, this is the best place to be. You're going to get hugged, you're going to get loved up, you're going to hear some music, you might even choose to sing it, and we're going to have a little conversation. And it's going to be really worthwhile. And you're going to leave here probably feeling a little bit better than what you were feeling prior. Meditation, treatment. And here's the big one. This is the hard one. The other two are easy. Silence. Silence. Can we just sit and be silent? Can we just sit and not think about, oh, I think I left the kettle on. Did I shut the iron off this morning? A funny story I heard last night made me laugh. Genevieve was in concert last night, so a lot of her friends came, and we were driving back, and we got to a yellow light, which also could be called amber, right? So one of the girls that was in the car with us, they were telling a story about her, where her and a friend and her boyfriend were driving along, and her boyfriend went, "Hey, that's an amber," or "That's Amber." And she yells out from the back, "Who is Amber?" And he turns around and goes, "It's a color of the light." "No, that's yellow." And he goes, "It's also amber. It's called amber." So it's like we do these things because we're thinking, oh no, what's he doing? Is he cheating on me? Like we get this story running and we don't want to live there. And I thought it was just the sweetest story because I could see me doing that years ago, getting upset at this boy because, he said something I misunderstood. Have you ever gotten upset with somebody because you misunderstood what they were talking about? We jump to conclusions sometimes and we don't hear what the other person's saying because we're coming up with our rebuttal. But if we were to listen back, we'd find out that they said something totally different than we thought. Is that the way we want to live? Excuse me, I'm in the shower at the moment. And it's only my face getting wet, but that's me. And I can't even call it menopause anymore, so I'm not sure what it is. I'm hot. There you go. So we're in an experience of trying to be human. So let's stop trying to be spiritual. You are that. You can't be anything else. So let's start by accepting that I'm having this human experience. I don't fully understand it. It's not going the way I wanted it to. In fact, everything's a bit of a mess. Look at the world. Look at my neighbors. Look at my kids. Look at my spouse. Look at the news. You'll see what's going on. But we want to release that idea and come to that place, that sweet place of taking time each day to be with who we are through journaling, meditation, prayer, treatment. Most important, silence. And meditation isn't always silent, so don't think that's your out. It's not always silent. Sometimes we listen to chants. Sometimes we listen to guided meditations. So that's not silence. Silence is this. And when it happens, most often we try to fill it with something. I did a retreat a few years ago with 8 women. And in that retreat, we had 1 day of silence. Oh my goodness, I thought they would lose their minds. It was incredible to see. And we forgot to tell the yoga instructor. And we were sitting down to lunch, and the yoga instructor is like trying to make conversation and nobody's talking. And he's thinking, well, what did I do? So finally I broke my silence and I said, we're doing silence today. And he's like, oh, but interesting that the first place he went was, what did I do wrong? Or why are people not talking to me? Liberation comes from freeing our mind. There's nothing else we need to do. We could be sitting in a prison, locked up all day. But if our mind is free, they can't contain that. So I invite you to really celebrate who you are. Begin to see yourself in the true light that you were created in. Think back to what you loved as a child. What was your greatest joy? And then find a way to bring some of that into these adult years where we're supposed to be so proper. Get over that. That's not fun. Proper's not fun. You got to be a little wild and crazy. You got to be like Wim and speak French weird. He does this incredible French that's not understandable. It's French words, but they're a little mixed up and it's very funny. I can't do it, but it's very funny. Maybe I'll get him to give you a sample one day. But the journey is about letting out that light, letting out that love. And when we do that, life gets easy, joyful. Yes? You ready for that? You want a little bit of that? All right. Thank you. Rico.
Thanks, Rev. Thank you for that. And now a time to remember that there is a law of infinite supply and that we're all in there, and to participate in that flow.
Sorry,
We have a financial support for this spiritual home.
Is it on?
Say that again. Sharon? Are you there? God?
I'm here.
Yes, she is here. Can I continue? Is that all right? Yep. So, we now offer an opportunity to financially support this spiritual home. Let's begin with our abundance affirmation, and together we say, "As I give, so I receive. My good now flows to me in a steady, unbroken, ever increasing stream of success, happiness, and abundance. I am blessed. Blessings abound for all life everywhere, and I am grateful." Now, there are ways to give. As a charitable organization, we offer many ways for you to support your spiritual community, this spiritual community. We will be changing our donation information soon. Meanwhile, you can still donate through e-transfers to admin@cslonthelake.com. Our website, cslonthelake.com, click donate. Our checks to the Center for Spiritual Living on the Lake, 20 Bonnie Lynn Court, Toronto, Ontario, M1K 3A4. And what? They can do square. Huh. It's not square to do square. Okay, here's a song coming at you. I think it's called Feeling Good.
Peace is the promise I make today. There's nothing greater for me to say than to lay down my fears and surrender to the peace I choose today.